Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
This is 18.
18. Who's going to do the intro?
Someone.
Oh, Deb.
Me?
I did it last time, I think.
Hey guys. Well, okay. Sorry, it's almost time. Welcome back to the WPD podcast. We are here with Romana Scotson.
I haven't had it yet.
Sorry,
Hey.
Bradley.
Hello.
And this is episode 18. And we're going to be discussing anxieties around the gym. And we're just doing that, or?
And the family support circle network thing that we discussed.
And whatever rubbish that happens to pour out of our mouths.
Rubbish.
Yeah.
Basically.
I'm pretty sleep deprived, so I don't think it's fair.
How was the massage anyway, right? Have a good massage?
It was sick. Really good. It was a new guy, so I was a bit like, how's this going to go? But no, he was really good.
What did you have worked on? Bit of everything.
Back. Lower SI was really tight. My neck was like, huh? It was very good. I've left you a voice note to testify how good it was. Listen to it in the bath. Yes.
If you need some motivation for
Sorry,
those bubbles.
I'm just having to give a review to Dan. Yeah.
It would just be like muffled because you'd be in like the circle. So like, yeah, Dan, this is really great.
It wasn't whilst I was being massaged.
Through the hole, through the head hole. Yeah. That's what Dan listens to when he's trying to fall asleep. It's like anxiety, like reducing music, but it's really like just Romana being like.
What's the matter, dude?
Oh,
you lie down. Go lie down.
I do find that like when I get to a certain weight, everything just goes to shit. Like it's like above 74 and my knees are just screaming every time I walk around. They're like, oh, don't know whether you guys find that.
My everything hurts.
I get pumped anterior tibs, like my
really?
shins. Yeah, if I'm walking around, especially around here, if I'm walking around a lot, then they'll literally seize up and my foot's like this, and I'm like, right, I've got to massage that out. Yeah, honestly.
Have the shin classic.
Everything hurts, and it's nothing to do with weight. It's because I'm old as fuck. And then it gets even worse when my estrogen does that. It gets even worse. It's even more fun.
Brilliant. This is the life of a bodybuilder.
Yeah,
lower back hurt.
That's my thing.
I didn't suffer with lower back pumps. I don't think I ever have.
Oh,
I
mate.
Times really bad. Like
really?
Yeah.
When I put on that 14 pounds in the space of 2 weeks, I literally all I needed to do was lean slightly forward to like, I don't know, in the kitchen surface, you might lean to get something out of the cupboard, and there's literally that much variation in your spine. I would be lower back pumping, even leaning forward to do the washing up. Yeah,
I had that with my back last week. I trained, and it's almost like the pump just never went away, and I had it for a solid week.
Man,
I had to get it massaged out. Yeah, it was horrendous. It was anytime you move, it wasn't quite like a pain, but it was like such an excruciating pump. Like every time I was like, oh, it was just.
I'm so pumped right now. Oh, someone take a picture.
Yeah, and I find when I'm really stressed, I'll clench my jaw. And even when the stress goes, if I'm tired, it's like the tension's built up so much in my jaw that my natural state of being is clenched jaw. And then I get it all down my neck and in my traps.
Oh, mate, I had that after prep. Like my TMJ was just so fucking horrendous. Yeah. Like every time I'd eat, I'd just get a full face just because they were so like pumped. It was so painful. Yeah. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Someone release it. Have you ever had it released off?
Yeah, I mean, he did some of it tonight, which is the first time someone's actually come round into my jaw.
Nice.
Yeah,
you have like these scalenes that are in your neck, and they sort of like insert. They are grim because they have to go like underneath the collarbone.
He did all of that.
Like bubble wrap,
and it's like,
yeah,
please keep doing it. It's blissful.
Yeah, I have that. Like my guy goes right up into the base of my skull, like here. Yeah. The tension it releases, it feels so good. And I have my head done sometimes,
Yeah.
My scalp.
He was like, I've done some of the tension, but there's still quite a bit there. And it's like I can feel it. But
there's only so much you can do in one session, isn't there? Because it just starts to like bruise and hurt, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When I used to do massage, like I used to have like all these people come in and think I could fix them in one session. I'm like, look, I'm not a magician. Like you have a couple sessions before I can fix you, Melody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But hey, I don't have magic hands.
Gym anxiety.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Sorry, I've just got to go back to the magic hands, says the lesbian.
Shut up. Stop it.
Yeah, the gym anxiety. So that I think it stemmed, didn't it? We were going to try and record last week and it kind of didn't happen. But I went to a new gym and I threw a paddy.
So was this the one in what gym was this?
So
Is this the one you
this
were
is
talking about?
nothing against. This is nothing about the gym. It wasn't about the gym's equipment. It's about, we all have good days and bad days. And my issue is, and I think Sarah and I, we've spoken about this and how we're very similar. Legs, for example, I already have pre-gym anxiety when it comes to leg day. They're always been my weakest body part. They're always the bit that I'm like, right, they've got to fucking grow. The session's got to count. It's got to hurt. So yeah, that sort of beginnings of anxiety. And we went to a new gym, which is about an hour away. And I was on a time frame because I had to be back in time to then go like a night shift. So we had 2.5 hours. By the time the guy had given us a tour of the gym, we had 2 hours. Did my little warm up. I've done 2 hamstring exercises, prime lying ham curl, and then a single leg ham curl, sort of like kneeling ham curl thing. That all went fine. And then I've gone on to do my glute bridges. And because the piece of equipment didn't work quite how I'm used to, that like wigs me out. And then I've moved on to try and use the true squat, and my knees were hurting, so I couldn't do that. And then I went on to do try the belt squat, because the belt squat's always one that I could do without hurting my knees. The fucking thing bottomed out before I was anywhere near parallel. And I was like, now, during this time, I've now lost about 20 minutes of trying different pieces of kit, having a little strop, and I'm like, right, fucking hell, now I've literally got an hour and a quarter left of this session, and I can't use half the equipment here. So I literally, like, anxiety was up through the roof. There was part of me thinking, fuck this, I'll just go and sit in the fucking car and wait for Dan to finish his session. And then I had to have a little word with myself, and I kind of reset by switching to something that's easier for me to train back. I always know, no matter what the equipment, I can have a good back session. So it was almost like having to reset to get rid of some of that anxiety. But I suppose it got me thinking, like, we put so much pressure on ourselves in the gym. It's really easy to have those moments of anxiety, and then how to kind of deal with them. And it was, I mean, it started off badly as well. Like, one of the things that makes me anxious is going into a new environment where I don't know where I'm going. So walking into a new gym, although I'm very comfortable in the gym, that initial, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know which way is the toilet. I don't know which way the gym floor is. I don't know where the water fountain is. That makes me really anxious, walking in there and kind of searching around and looking like a knob because I don't know where I'm going and ending up walking into the gents. So like, Dan had held the door open for me and he's kind of gone like that. And I was like, no, you go first. And he was like, what is it with you and not wanting to walk through a door I'm holding open? It's like, it's nothing about that. It's you going in first takes the pressure off what I'm trying to see. So I suppose it was 2 folds of like gym anxiety that I had in this one session. And I suppose I just thought it'd be quite useful for people, because, you know, if we're finding things anxious in the stage of training that we're in, like,
I think as well, like, it's the equipment, and then it's obviously like the atmosphere. Like, a lot of people aren't used to seeing like bigger women, even in a gym setting, like especially in like just some certain gyms. Is you've also not only got the anxiety of not really knowing where things are, what the equipment's like what the atmosphere is like, but you've also got the other anxiety portion that is like, okay, so people are already staring at me, and you know, like, they're already being like, oh, who's this bitch that's just walked in? Do you know what I mean? So you're trying to like already trying to work out what the sort of type of people are, what exercises you want to do, what equipment is. So like, you've got like loads of things like flying around that you're already affecting your workout even before you've even started. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What gym? Would you want to say what gym it was, or?
Yeah, because as I said, I've got nothing against the gym. We're going back there on Wednesday to train pool, because it's this little gym down in Plymouth called Zone Fitness. I think it's Zone Fitness. And I mean, they've got Panatta, they've got Prime, they've got Hammer Strength. They've literally got some, what is it? They've got it's like a hip hinge leg press. You know, the one you sit.
I know the one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you're like in a seat. And then I want to say it's like a Rogers squat thing. I'm really shit. Yeah, I'm really shit with like names of equipment. Dan would be like, oh, it's this, but no idea. But it's one of the, it's
actually
like
a Ricky squat. Get it right.
I don't actually know if you know that for sure, or if you're just Taking the piss out.
I don't know.
I'm really
I don't know
tired,
either.
and I've lost my ability to gauge things.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going back on Wednesday. It was
Okay.
just, I think if I didn't have the time constraint, it wouldn't have been quite so bad.
Yeah. I
I find
think as
that.
well with like, sorry, go ahead, Debs.
No, that's when you can.
I think as well with something as big as legs, like we're all sort of like, for me, I only like to train legs with Connor and at SUPs. Like I will train elsewhere if I have to, but I'm so used to having a way that the session goes. I'm so used to having Connor there, like anywhere else, and I'm a bit like, I don't really like this. I can't, like, for legs, I think there's another level of, obviously you want to train hard regardless, whatever the like body part is, but I think legs takes a certain amount of intensity in a certain headspace to get it right. And when you're not in a space where you're comfortable, you know where your surroundings are, then it just affects the headspace that you want to be in for legs.
Yeah.
I'm the same with that. Like I only train legs down here in the pro gym.
Yeah.
Because I've got another little local gym. I won't train them in there because it's just like it is anxiety inducing. It's like one of those ones you're way more prone to like injuring yourself. And I'm the same as you. It's my weaker body part as well. So I want to train it. The only other place I train legs is with you and Connor, isn't it, Sarah? Like
Yeah.
and if we've all trained together, when have we ever done legs together as well? We've
Yeah.
not.
Never.
We've
Never.
not, have we? Because it's one of those things. It's almost like, in some senses, almost like ritualistic. You have to go in there. You can't be disturbed. And I suffer with that time constraint thing. In my head, I put things in blocks, in like time frame blocks. And if it runs over just a little bit, then I'm like, oh, I've got to shift all this forward. And if, again, of the anxiety of it, like, it's not so much I don't like it, but if you know you've got a time constraint and you go to your local gym or you go to a different one and people recognize they want to talk to you because you look, like someone that might know what they're on about, and they come up and talk to you, you kind of like, that's building up anxiety as well, because it sounds horrible, they're taking time from you.
Yeah.
And I always feel bad. I'll give them a little bit, but it takes time from your session, and then you're like, right, now I'm and it puts you in such a bad headspace, because then you feel you've got to rush, and you've got to rush through everything, and then your lifts turn to shit, and it's just, you have to. I agree with legs. You just have to be in that headspace.
It's odd
Yeah.
because I trained legs again on Friday, and that was in between 2 night shifts. So again, I had a time constraint, but it was in my gym. So it was like, I know the kit, I know what weights I need to warm up. So that was at Unit 7. So it wasn't quite so bad, but I also went into it knowing that I was on a time limit. Whereas
Yeah.
the one on Sunday, I didn't plan for, it was only when we got there, I was like, fuck, we've got to leave in like 2.5 hours because I've got to be back to get ready for work. Yeah. So now I'm stressed about that as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think legs is just so specific to the individual. Like for me, my hips haven't been great since I was powerlifting. So like going to a different gym where I don't know what the machines are like, I just can't. Like it's just too much. I'd much rather just stay in my own place, stay in around people that know how I work, how I train, instead of like trying to have that anxiety. So like if I ever go to a different gym, then it'll either be like chest, shoulders, back, or arms or something like that. It'll never be legs.
But then it's like, strangely, yesterday, again, I was really tired. And we were up at Grow Room. And I think I tried 2 different leg extensions and the seated hand curl. And just because of my height, like I couldn't fit the seated hand curl, the pads were quite worn away. So they were really like, the more weight I was pulling on the hand curl, the more it was pressing down on my quads. And that was really uncomfortable, like distracting me from the set. And the Nautilus leg extension is not.
Was that the blue one?
Yeah, it's not built for people that aren't vertically challenged, because I was literally lying down on this thing.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I used to find that you just like lie in it instead of like sitting in it, because it's just like, I'm just going to do the top portion of like leg extension.
But for whatever reason, I didn't have that same anxious response. I was just like, well, this is annoying, and I didn't waste the time trying to make it work. I just moved on to the next thing.
Do you not reckon that's because you've been to the Grow Room before? Like obviously went down to the deadlift and that.
I haven't trained at the Grow Room before.
But you've been in that, been in the gym, you kind of know how things are set out kind of thing. So maybe, and plus were you on a time restraint this time?
I had 3 hours, so not still a time constraint. But I think maybe also because this gym in Plymouth, it's more of a lifestyle gym. It's not a bodybuilding gym, although it's got all these really good pieces of kit. Whereas the Grey Room is more of a bodybuilding gym. So I
Yeah.
don't know if it was just feeling more comfortable in my own skin
Yeah.
there and less sticking out like a sore thumb. Like you said, you know, larger muscular woman in a lifestyle gym.
Do you ever like read like sounds I do it sometimes. Do you ever if you've got going to a gym and you know you're going there, do you ever like look at it? Do you ever go on and see like what equipment they've got to try
Oh
and
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they've got another Zone Fitness in, is it Collington near you, Debs?
Callington.
Cannington, something like that.
Yeah.
And that, like, we want to go and try that out as well, because that looks to have some really good pieces of kit as
Yeah.
well.
I think the guy messaged me. Is his name Josh or Lewis or
No
something?
idea. No idea.
He's got really good equipment in there because he said to come down and try it, or it'll be
Yeah.
up actually. But he said to come because that's about an hour and a bit away from me. But that's a really decent gym actually.
Because it's kind of sort of if
There, so you've got Plymouth here, and Callington's like there, so you can
yeah.
drive through Callington and avoid the toll bridge, but it takes another hour to get into if you're tip tight and you want.
I think from us it was like instead of coming under Dartmoor, we'd go over Dartmoor to get to it.
Yeah. It's meant to be a very good gym there actually, but maybe that could be a meetup point for all of us or something.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah, you can come to me, Sarah, and I'll drive us on
Fuck yeah.
if we can ever find any time.
I know, innit? We're so busy being amazing.
Everyone's like, yeah, let's do this day. And then either I cancel or you're like, actually, no, I can't do that. And I'm like, I can't make it.
Oh, mate, if we'd done the podcast on Sunday night, I would have been a dribbling wreck.
It would have been, yeah.
I was so late. I got back literally. I was like an hour apart. I had to move. That's what I mean with time things. I work in my head. It's probably some type of weird OCD, but I'm in slots.
Yeah.
And I was like, I go into like a meltdown. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, everything's shifted. I was like, oh.
Everything has shifted.
Yeah.
I'd spent on about 4 hours sleep. I tried to polish off writing an job application, which was probably not.
Did you read it back in the morning? And was it like
I just pressed submit? It was due.
Like,
fuck it.
Yeah.
Who is this drunkard writing into us?
Yeah. It's like, and now I've been doing this job a year. I'd really, really like to stay doing this job. Thank you. The end.
Hire me. XOX.
Yeah. You know I'm all right at it. So yeah.
I'll stop eating my food at my desk. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think and something that I like coming back round to the gym anxiety thing, I think what's also really important is like a pre-gym routine. So like try and keep your normal pre-gym routine, even though it's a different atmosphere, different place, the same as it would be in your normal gym. Like that's something I say to my clients a lot is it's so important to have that pre-gym routine that yes, there may be again those outside sources that may be affecting it, but if you try and keep it the same, then that's something that you can control. And like coming back around to having a look at the gym prior and kind of knowing exactly what's going to be there, trying to match up if say if you have like an incline plate loaded press or something, and there isn't an incline plate loaded press in this new gym, then you know, okay, so I'm gonna have to swap it over for this. So you're still going into the gym with a plan. It just may be slightly altered, but you know, prior to going to that gym that it's going to be altered, instead of turning up being like, fuck, there's no plate loaded press, and then worrying about it for like 10-15 minutes. Because I know you mentioned, Ro, about the glute drive and how it wasn't the same.
No, it was a booty builder thingy. They've got one at SUPS. And like I've used it at SUPS, but it wasn't quite as strong as I am now. And I tried sort of warming up and I was upping the weight. And you kind of have to like basically put your shoulders on the pad and then push up from the bottom. Whereas the Nautilus glute drive, you're already at the top of the movement and you're going down, which is obviously an easier way to start a movement if you're lifting heavy weight. And I was like, I'm going to hurt myself if I try and actually do this. I suppose something I took from it, which I think is kind of important for people to sort of remember, is you may be wigging yourself out in your head, but bottom line is you're still in the gym, you're still doing something. And it's like, all right, my leg session didn't go to plan and I could have sat and stewed over that. But ultimately I was like, right, I've still got an hour and a quarter. What can I do in that time? Back and arms, bosh that out. So it's like, I still got a really good session with some really good pieces of kit. The Prime lat pull down, oh my god, that's friggin' amazing. Yeah.
What one's that?
It's I'm trying to think what it compares to. I thought initially the grips are quite close together. And I thought,
I
is this
think I
going to
might
be
know.
all right in the end? But the burn I had on my lats was just brilliant. I don't know how else.
Prime plate loaded lap pull down.
Yeah. If I
Mm.
was as technologically gifted as Debs, I'd know how to share my screen, but I'm not. So I suppose the only thing I could do is get a photo of it up on my
Oh
phone.
yeah, I know the one.
Hang on. Ruby, you've got
I was
plate.
like that down here. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
It just connects really. You just get that like really good connection with it. I just use mag grips. Actually, the Watson pull down we use is actually quite good in Pro Gym. That's where you can like basically alter the width on it and use like D grips.
Oh,
So it's a dual cable one. It's a dual pulley
very
system.
nice.
Can't
Oh,
find
I
an
think
image.
I know the one.
Mm.
Ah, there we go.
Oh,
That's
hang
brilliant.
on.
There we go.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, look how fancy that
Yeah.
looks.
That looks sick.
Very good. Very, very good.
Mm. The only
Yeah.
thing annoying with those
Lag.
ones is it makes it really hard to do like single arm pull downs.
Mm.
Or were they unilaterally different? Like
No, I think it was. I don't know. I didn't actually check.
yeah.
I normally do a single arm variation, but it was quite nice and speedy to do double arm
Boff.
off. Yeah. And then they had like the Panata chest supported sort of T-bar type thing.
Oh, see, Sups has one of those, and I cannot get on with that.
Really?
Yeah.
It was a little bit lower back pumpy. I did have to be
Yeah.
careful. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Cannot get on with that. Isn't it weird how like we could all use the same machine and it just not work for like 2 out of 3 of us? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how crazy is it that each individual is just so different in the fact that the same machine might not work for any of us? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, or I feel it in my traps, you feel it in your lats. Like, how crazy is that? It's so cool. Well,
But
if you can
I
fix
don't know
it.
about you guys, going off tangent a little bit, but you know the sofa form critiquers
Oh
that
yeah.
are like, I put
I
some,
literally thought you meant literal like people who critique sofas for a minute. Then I was like, who the fuck sits on the sofa?
Someone
and
does
critiques-
that.
Yeah.
yeah,
That sofa does not
sofa
like plush at
critiquer.
all.
Yeah. No, the ones that sit and the keyboard warriors,
Yeah.
trolls. You put a video up. And which one was it? I think it was. I did a post about it. There's a single arm cable row I'm doing, where the bench is at quite a sort of soft angle, and I'm using the bench, and then I'm doing my cable rows. And I knew I'd have people going, "Oh, that's not." But for me, I feel it in exactly the place Dan's programmed me to feel it. So
Yeah.
however it looks is irrelevant. I'm feeling it where where he wants me to target feeling it.
Yeah. There's always going to be some fucker that's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. It's like, oh, sorry, are you me? Like,
Yeah.
like when I had my Smith high box squat thing.
Oh, yeah.
Ripped
I
apart
remember
on
that.
mine,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry. You come and do a 4-minute long drop set then, and I'll see how you feel. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just people that have nothing better to do that are just like, oh, well, it's rubbish. It's rubbish.
You
So
normally
just-
look at them and they don't even train. Like, not saying like in that, but they don't actually train.
Yeah.
And you're like, hang on, if you're yielding results off that movement and you're feeling it, that's all that matters. It's not like you're saying everyone must follow my form, my technique, and do it like this. But you're showing people what you do and how
Yeah.
they build physique. Like
Exactly.
the way I do something, like you were just saying a minute ago, Sarah. Like different movements will work for different people, and it's like everyone's like, oh, what you should do like this type of squat. You're like, well, actually no, because I don't get anything from that, or I don't get. You don't have to do something because someone else does it.
Yeah.
It's all about what works for you, isn't it? And I think that actually does channel into gym anxiety of some people because they're like, oh, I must copy what this fitness influencer's done. You know, there's doing this booty building thing. I'm gonna put some band drumming, crab walk like fucking 10 miles around the gym. Like, no, just you don't have to do that. Like, do something where you feel it. And if you feel it and you're not being ridiculous with what you're doing, that's all that matters, isn't it? There's too many people with too many opinions nowadays, and everyone's an expert, aren't they? They're like, oh no, but this book from 1992 says that you need to do it like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and yeah, and like you said, Debs, like adding to that anxiety thing is you're doing the movements, doing the exercise, and thinking, oh, people are like watching me, are they critiquing me? Like,
Yeah.
am I doing
Big
it right?
thing.
Like, it's just just do whatever you works for you at the end of the day. Like, what might work for me probably won't work for both of you girls. Like, it's just how it is, and it's just that's the beauty of bodybuilding, is it's all trial and error for each individual, and we're all different with different goals, different ways of progressing forward, and like, some people want to be on the journey. If you want to watch my journey, then fine, but it's what works for me. I'm not going to fucking tell you to do what I do, because it won't work.
And also, it's like an Instagram video doesn't contextualize your range of motion or your limiting factors such as injury.
Exactly.
Like, I was watching I filmed myself in a hack yesterday, and I was watching myself back, and I was like, oh, if I post that, is somebody going to go, oh, you're not going deep enough, your ass isn't touching the floor? It's like, no, my ass can't touch the floor because I'm 37, and if my ass touched the floor, my kneecaps would embed in the wall opposite. Like,
yeah, but if you don't need to impose that, like that for you could induce an injury. You don't need to impose that. But if you're getting results from not going that deep, like not everyone can go that deep, and if people are going so deep that the hills are coming off as well, that's definitely going to cause like a shift and fuck your knees up. So, you know, I can go deep, but I feel going like above like a certain depth, I get better like connection from it. If I go too low, it then pulls my lower back in, and then my knees, like you said, my knees hurt and all this, and I'm like, well, it looks cool for Instagram, but I'm not trying to do it to look cool. I'm trying to do it to build, and if it's not building, you're going to get all these heavy lifts doing X, Y, and Z, but you're not actually building from it and getting like any different. So, you know, it's that, you know, we do, like, unfortunately, to an extent, everyone cares what someone thinks, but it's the fact that people are putting things out there. Again, like we've spoke about different things before, when people like lie about using PEDs, people like lie about what they do just for, it's like a front, isn't it? So it does induce anxiety in people. And again, like, common things that clients say, or people that are coming up and it's just like, oh, I'm worried that that person is looking. And sometimes, say, like people like us might watch, and then when you finished your set, we might be like, you know what, we want to help, we'll come over and say something. And then it puts people off because they've probably seen someone like yourself, Roman, and you, Sarah, like being slated on Instagram for putting up a lift that's not like textbook form what it should be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's definitely, it's the age of paralysis by analysis, isn't it? Like me and Connor were having this discussion the other day, and the fact that when you look at someone like Ronnie Coleman or Branch Warren and shit like that, like, and that famous video of Ronnie Coleman doing his T-bar row, like he's not thinking about the angle of his fucking humerus, is it? He's just clanging the weights around, and he's the greatest of all time. Like, and then Branch Warren still trains like his knees are gonna explode every fucking day, like, and he's one of the best Olympians there ever was. Like, so sometimes it, you know, like for me, I do like to rip and grip with back training, but then I also add in like the squeeze work. It's just having the best of both worlds, and stop trying to over analyze things, because it's just going to take the fun out of it. Like, oh, just nice slow squeeze, like this is the angle of my arm, blah blah blah. Yes, like that's great to an extent to know exactly what you're trying to achieve, but going to the gym is all about having fun, just bettering yourself, and just going in and working hard. And because people are over analyzing things, they're losing out on the intensity of the training. They're just like, oh, I must squeeze it. Like, no, you need to learn how to train hard with correct form. Obviously, yes, it sometimes gets sloppy when fatigue is apparent, but that's when you start doing like 4 steps. And if you're around someone that spots you safely, then go fucking for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, but people do need to think that training, it should be hard, it should be intense. That's how we progress forward, instead of being so textbook that you're not actually not actually doing the hard work, you're just overthinking it.
Like, I don't know if you guys saw, like someone put up a video, I think it was Chris Bumstead doing tricep extensions, and like his elbows come up really high, and then someone was like, I'm going to start doing them like this now. I'm like, but you can, but
you're
again,
not Chris Bumstead.
Not Chris Bumstead, but it's also this thing where you're not allowed to move at all. You've got to stay here. Like, you're like, feel it, like feel the exercise. Like if you feel crunched up in there as well, maybe do a different variation of tricep exercise. You don't have to do the bog standard of what other people are doing. And similarly, don't do really stupid shit, because again, it's probably not going to work. You just got to feel for it. Like, you know, it's very basic anatomy as well, isn't it? You're like, oh, I want this head to do it. It's just feeling through it. And there was another really funny video that I think it was James Hollingshead put up. Did you see it? Where he had like loads of shit on him.
Ultra flex. It was just like James Hollingshead taking the piss out of everyone that's like super
Oh,
analyzing
yeah.
and stuff like that. He
Yeah,
even had a shaker bottle like tied
Yeah.
to the attachment.
They were
Yeah.
screaming in his ear, weren't they? And they were like, and I just watched her about 10 times. It made me laugh so much because he had so much stuff tied to it.
But the funny thing is the people that I liked that were the people that were sharing it and being like, oh my God, like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I was literally like looking at it, I was like, wow, like you are that person that's sharing that video. Like, come on now.
I mean, that would actually take for me personally, that would take so much enjoyment out of my training. If someone was like forcing my elbow into a certain movement the entire time, and every movement had to be so perfect, and it's every like second. I
One Mississippi, two Mississippi.
It's like no shit. It's no joke. My previous coach, everything was a 3-second eccentric, 3-second concentric, a pause. Fucking hell. No wonder my sessions took so long. It's just boring. There's no real intensity to it because you're just moving everything so slowly.
But there's like loads of like research that says anything like over 10 seconds is kind of stupid. It's like it's too long. Some people are like, oh, I'm doing a 15 seconds like rep or something. I'm like,
well done. You can count.
There was something that made me laugh.
Hmm?
We'll call them the Mississippians.
The Mississippians, yeah.
Mississippi.
Just say it like really sexually, and your training partner say like, one Mississippi.
Give me the S's for my tongue thrust for that one.
Oh yeah, you've got your list. One Mississippi.
One Mississippi.
You're gonna next time we train together, Ray, and we record something.
Just spit in your face because that's what's gonna happen. Let's be honest.
You're gonna go one Mississippi.
One Mississippi flop in your hair. Two Mississippi flop in your face.
We'll keep that content for OnlyFans, yeah?
Yeah.
People will love it. People will love it.
Spitting.
But,
Good stuff.
It's mad. Like I think a lot of people just need to step back and be like, right, okay, what works for them, and what doesn't. Like, and we just stay in our own lane. But like I said, there are so many keyboard warriors out there that are like everything's wrong, and then they're critiquing like top Olympians, and you're like, don't see you on the Olympians.
You're like, how can you do that? How can you?
Although, what I will say is, green bands do not live on hack squats. Just saying.
Green bands. Yeah, you hear it here first.
They're not part of the equipment.
Have I missed something?
Oh, just the whole like, I don't know, people have got 7 plates aside on the hack squat, but they've got like a fuck off big green band. You know, the hack squat unit 7. So you put a green band around that, and literally you might have 7 plates, but it's the weight of 3. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like what you're actually lifting is fuck all because the band's taking all the tension, and then they'll leave it
the other way.
Sorry?
Put the band at the bottom.
But they don't, they just leave it at the top.
No, but I meant tie at the bottom.
Yeah. But then they'll leave it attached to the hack squat. So then somebody else, like I'm just waiting for the time, right? When somebody comes in wanting to do a banded assisted pull-up, grab the green band off the hack squat, tie it to the rig, start doing their pull-up, and ba-ting, they just get launched through the ceiling as the band breaks on the way back up or some shit. Like,
imagine if one of those bands broke when you were doing the hack squat though. How dangerous that would be.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm making it all wibbly wobbly, aren't I?
Yeah, because you've not taken that weight. You've not actually felt the actual load that you've got on your back.
Yeah.
Hack squat's fucking scary. Like anything like above like 3 plates is scary for me. Like I'm like, gosh. Like it's one of those things, isn't it? But there was I can't remember now. There was a guy, I can't remember what he was like. I think he was critiquing people using bands on leg presses or something. And then I think it was both his quads ruptured. Do you remember that?
Oh yes, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he like put little plates on, then put bands on, and then he just snapped both his quadricep tendons, didn't he?
Yeah.
Snapperoonie. See you later. I've never actually banded anything, to be honest.
I've tried it once on once I did like some powerlifting deadlift training, and he banded the thing for me because you can tuck them under, can't you, on the platform?
Yeah.
You got like the ones we trip over in Unit 7 all the time.
Oh, fucking ankle snappers.
Yeah, they are fuckers.
And sometimes do assisted pull-ups with them, but
yeah,
I'm meant to do reverse banded hack squat, but like the hack at Unit 7 does make me feel like my knees are gonna
I just can't really
So-
use many hack squats because I can never find them comfortable. That's why I use a V squat more than anything, because like the hack squat and sups is just god awful. Like the angle is so harsh, and because it's like a metal sheet, there's no like grip to it, so you
Yeah.
just feel like you're just gonna slide off all the time. So I haven't hack squatted in like maybe
I
a
haven't
year.
used the V squat since it squished me the first time I used it.
Oh
Help,
yeah, I love a
help.
V squat. They're great.
Yeah. Well, that's the V squat at Unit 7. Dan's got a really nice V squat that I like to use.
Does
that-
he?
That's in Suffolk.
Bastard,
Mhm.
Suffolk.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
no. It's kind of my own fault it's not in Exeter, because if I got my arse in gear and actually decanted the contents of my flat that's in the garage into the house, then he'd have space to put gym gear, but I just literally haven't had time.
It's all your fault.
New Year's resolution.
The new me.
Yeah. Garage
But
gym.
yeah, so
and-
I think it's mad. I didn't even know when the ban thing started. Who set that off? It's like the JP thing with deadlifts. Who set the ban thing off?
No.
I didn't even know when that started. It must have been a couple of years ago now.
You have to research it.
The only thing that's coming
Who
into my
started
head,
bans?
the only thing that's coming into my head is circa South Park about 2005. Blame Canada.
Blame Canada. I haven't watched South Park in ages.
Blame
South Park
Canada.
is- I was talking about South Park today, actually, with my brother.
Love it.
Hmm. I can imagine your brother's like into it.
Nah, authority.
You actually sounded way like him.
I know, pretty good at that. It's like if Ruby could be a cartoon character, she would be Cartman.
She actually would.
Yeah,
actually.
she-
Think about her on a walk. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Oh dear. But
Turns
yeah,
on a
so
hill.
I think with the anxiety thing, I think it's just
Yes, we
perfectly normal. just-
digress.
but we digressed so far. It's hilarious.
Yeah, but it's good.
Um,
though, it's organic conversation.
Exactly. And we love organic conversations. But I think a couple of tips would just be to like, if you're really that anxious, just plan ahead. I think that's the best thing to do, is just like kind of scope out the environment. If they have an Instagram page, Facebook page, if you need to change things on your plan, then change things on your plan. Just basically be prepared, but try and keep things as similar as possible, like including that gym routine. Like if you have a certain playlist that you listen to prior, then keep that in. Same with your pre-workout meal, keep that in. Even if you normally like arrive half an hour before your session, still arrive half an hour before your session, and then just do your normal routine instead of being super like outside of it and not feeling comfortable within that routine, because then it's just going to make the session so much more intense and stressful.
And would you say as well, like especially people that logbook, I tend not to logbook trainings have a way. I tend to just keep off the logbook and just have it like a not like a lucky dip, but it's like an extra session.
Yeah.
Where you play with new equipment and just feel different things, you know, because some of that equipment you guys have got, I don't have at mine. So I'm like, I can't really replicate this again. So I'm just gonna have fun and just train.
Yeah.
And have fun.
Yeah. I've actually had to ditch the logbook altogether for my own anxiety.
Really?
Well, if you think about it, because of the nature of my lifestyle, shift working, the variables impacting each and every session are so varied, are so different. Like my leg session yesterday is nothing like my leg session Friday, which is nothing like the leg session before that. And I would find that I would be sacrificing form and getting in my head too much, chasing the numbers in my logbook. But yeah, I think it was probably not long after Dan started doing my training. So I haven't logbooked since the beginning of July. And it's also when I've made my biggest progress, I think it's fair to say.
What, without the logbook?
Yeah, without a logbook.
Yeah, like this is obviously like a controversial subject, but like there are obviously pros and cons to using logbooks, but I think a massive like con of using a logbook is if you don't beat that whatever you set yourself the week before, it's just going to bring like a negative mindset. And I just think fuck that. You know, there's so many different variables that come into it.
You can't change. That's the thing. People want to add like 5 or 10 kilos every single week. Like you cannot do that. Like you know, like some people walk around with like little 1.25s or like a pound or something like that, don't they? Just a little bit. Or it's about then if you just moved up a weight, it's about them perfecting it that way and making sure like the purposeful reps, you've got good connection on them. Like that in itself is progress, isn't it? It doesn't have to be I'm moving 5-10 kilos more. I've started using, now I'm back into training properly, I've started using my logbook, but then when I get into my training like really, really well, I tend to leave it. And and then I look at what I'm doing back when I started, and it just reassures me, like, oh, 4 or 5 months down the line, I am getting better, and you can feel it. It's nice not to be like you have to answer to the logbook every time. I do get that. It's each person's individual, aren't they? But I think everyone that's used a logbook has probably come away from it and gone back and come away. So
I think you've got to be honest with yourself as to are you ditching the logbook to give yourself a pass and actually get rid of that accountability?
yeah.
Or like me, are you ditching the logbook because using that logbook is actually counterproductive to what you're trying to achieve? And like what I'm trying to achieve is I need that mind muscle connection every session. And like some sessions I may only need 20 kilograms to do that because I'm knackered. Some sessions I'm feeling strong as fuck and I'm up to 80 kilograms to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but you have to have that kind of ability to look at yourself and be, okay, can I still perform at the level I want to perform without that tool aiding me? And I've got a very big, scary person standing behind me, so I know that I've got to give it my all, regardless of not having a logbook.
Oh God!
Yeah,
oh, dear.
When
I
your
think as well,
partner's your
just
training coach.
it comes with just experience as well. I mean, if you're a beginner and you want a logbook, perfectly fine. But when you've been like training for so many years, you know exactly what works, what doesn't work, whether you progressed on something, whether you haven't, what comes into it, variables, blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean?
I think as well, if your goal is to enjoy it, anything that detracts from you enjoying that process of being in the gym, get rid of it. Because if it's taking away the joy, then what's the point?
Yeah,
I don't know,
exactly.
That's my
that kind of comes into it all when people are like, this is like a massive one when people like come to prep and they're like, oh, I just hate prepping. Don't fucking do it. No one's telling you to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I'm hating off season right now.
We're all in off season, like, but like, yes, prep is hard. It's not supposed to be easy. Like, that's what separates people who can do it and who can't. But like, we all love what we do. That's why we do it. We're not doing bodybuilding because we hate it and we want to be like seen as some amazing person, because one, what we do in WPD isn't what everyone wants to look like anyway. But like, we do what we do because we love it. So if you're just like going into the gym so upset about your logbook and then just complaining about being in the gym, then it's not for you. Like, and that's okay. Like, but if it's not bringing you joy and happiness, then don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
It's literally, I had someone say to me, this prep I went, not these two gyms, it was a gym I went to before. And this guy came up to me, goes, oh, so you in prep? And I'm literally very like, you saw how gaunt I went in this prep. I'm like, yeah, like look at me. Like, I didn't say that, but obviously thinking it. And he goes, when are you competing? I was like, oh, I think I was like 6 weeks out at that point. He goes, oh, I bet you can't wait to get that over and done with, can you? I bet you're not looking forward to it at all. I was like, no. I was like, I'm really actually looking forward to it. I said, why do you think I've been in prep for like
nobody's got a gun to your head?
Yeah, literally. And I was just like, I said, I'm really sorry. I said, I don't understand what you mean. He goes, oh, well, it's it's not a nice thing to do, is it? I said, well, it's pushing your body to an extent. You're fighting your body and you're challenging your body. I said, I like challenge, but it's not, maybe it's not for you. So like, I watched my missus do it. She did a local contest like a year ago or so, and she came like third or something.
Was she a pro?
No, I was like, good for her. I was like, but I said, she stopped at that one show. Like, I'm like 14 shows deep now. I was like, either, I must like it, otherwise I won't keep going back, and like, even if I get knocked down and I don't get what I want, I'll still go back again and try again and try again, try again. And it is, you have to love it. Like, people are just like, oh, how can you do that? I'm like, how can you go on the piss every weekend and gain and drink alcohol and eat shit all the time and sit on your butt and not do anything? Like, that's your lifestyle, but for us, like, that's it. It sounds cliche, but it is a lifestyle. You have to be all in, otherwise what's the point?
Exactly. You wouldn't eat food you didn't like, right?
Exactly.
Ro doesn't want to eat, and she's there with a dry bagel, fisting it in her mouth,
Although I am having a conversation with Tom tomorrow.
And now she's got another
one. Yeah, you fist that bagel.
Not my life.
Yeah, it's mad though, isn't it? But it is what it is. It's the same when people are like, oh my God, like, how can you like watch your partner eat food and shit like that? And I'm like, because it's my choice to prep. I don't care. Like, she doesn't have to do anything to do. She just, she's who she is and I am who I am.
Okay.
You want to eat a pizza in front of me? She can eat a pizza. That's how that works.
It is, though,
I
that's
don't
just-
care.
Cheese would have fucked you up anyway.
Yeah, I would have. It still fucks me up quite regularly.
Yeah,
Me too. Me too.
funny cheese.
Still eat it. Fuck it.
You're not
Oh,
going
I
to be
don't.
like, oh, swat it out of her hand and like have the pizza down the floor, like,
Fuck the
"How dare you
pizza.
eat in front of me?" But it's that thing as well. It's self-control and discipline.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like
Yeah.
if we wanted to, if we wanted it that bad, we wouldn't be prepping in the first place. And second of all, be like, "Do you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. Hand us a slice." Do you know what I mean? Like, but not everyone has that, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. It means it's not for them. Like they might be better at something else that we're not so much. And it's everyone's got their thing they're good at and things they're not good at. But
Yeah.
it's that thing. And I was saying to someone the other day that it breeds discipline, and it does help you in so many other areas of your life, like your work, like your support network and stuff like that. It does
Yeah.
help when you have like similar sort of interests. And it shows that
Yeah.
you're disciplined, you know. I mean, me not turning up to podcasts sometimes, you know, that's not a discipline, but
I think that leads on quite nicely to the next topic we are going to cover tonight, wasn't it? Which was like family support.
Yeah. And I think being in prep, like obviously a lot of people will agree, is it makes you appreciate people. So like in this prep recently, I realized how much I actually push people away. Whereas I have like Leets, you guys, and then a couple few others that are let in. Whereas like even my family I'll push away because I don't want to like don't get me wrong, my family, my dad and my sister are very supportive, but it has taken my dad a little bit longer to understand what I do. And like, you know, he said to my sister the other day that, you know, when I'm in prep, I'm very numb, I'm very emotionally like away, and he can't understand why I'm like that. And
It's
you know, my
energy
sister's
conservation, isn't it? Effectively.
that's it. And like I don't have the energy to be super emotional. Like the emotion gets thrown out from the minute I start prep, essentially, because I'm so tunnel visioned, like, and he doesn't seem to understand why I'm like it. So my sister tries to explain to him, but I can't explain to him because it's just the way we become when we're in prep. Like I'm just a robot, and that's just how it is. Like don't have time to cry, like, do you know what I mean? Because I'm hard as nails,
tough as nuts. But Nick, I have the same, like when I go into prep, all of my immediate friends now, I'm like, right guys, like I'm going into prep, I prime them. It's almost like I prime them. I'm like, I'm going to be a hermit. I'm not going to go out to social events. Like I did, to be fair, this time I did a lot more. I went out a lot more, but as the weeks pressed on and the more tired you get, you know, sometimes you have to pull your steps down as well and you can't go out as much. So you have to go back, and you have to get to that like conditioning as well. You have to really push yourself to somewhere your body and your mind don't want to go. And if you have any sort of external feedback from other people that is a contradictory thought to what you want to do, it can infiltrate you, and sometimes you have to just put your blinkers on and shut it out. It's, you know, everyone deals with preps differently, don't they? But I become very much the same, Sarah. I become so dead with emotion. Like someone could say something to me that like deserves a very sort of like empathic and emotional response, and it will just be like there'll be nothing there. It's like I'm a robot. And I'm like, then I have to think of how I should react to that. I'm like, oh, this is the emotion I should be showing. And then that then causes stress because you're not interacting with people how you should. So it's kinder to not, if that makes sense. It's kind of not. And if they understand, great. But again, people don't have support networks like family and friends that understand. Understand that they don't at all. So it makes it 10 times more stressful to do. So off season, right? So like for you, Ro, it's exactly the same, isn't it? Both so prep and off season are very much the same. There's not like a level of understanding either way, is there?
So I am in the position where my dad supports me, my dad and my stepmom. They don't understand it, but at the same time, like me and my dad, we have quite a chilled relationship. Like Dan met him for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and before that I hadn't seen him since July, and that's not unusual for us. He's quite comfortable. He knows that I'm living my life, and he's not like demanding in any way, shape, or form. Which is ironic because he's got Parkinson's, so he's probably got the most right to be demanding. Bless him. But unfortunately, my mum still has that, and it's not her fault, but she still has that mentality that women with muscles are disgusting. She doesn't like it. She doesn't understand it. She can't support it. This is a conversation that I had with her fairly recently. And it's something I have struggled with through all of my, like the whole time I've been bodybuilding. And I don't quite know how I've managed to come to this sort of period of acceptance that, all right, well, that's just her. But we had this big blow up conversation. What I'm trying to do is trying to think, is there any sort of advice I would have for somebody who is in a similar situation? And I suppose it's like not compromising yourself to please other people.
Yeah.
You've got to stick with your guns, because ultimately, otherwise you're not going to be happy.
It comes back to that podcast we had with Rachel Daniels, right? Like where she was like, I don't care if you're family, blood, best friend, if you get in my way, then you're out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it comes down to that. Like, obviously we all love our families and stuff like that, but if you're in my way, I'm gonna push you the fuck out. Do you know what I mean?
It's that thing though. Why would you compromise yourself? Because then you have to ask, would they do that for you? Like, would you ask of that? Would you ask that of them? Would you say, I want you to change your lifestyle and who you are and all your principles, morals, and everything that you are?
Yeah.
Would they change that for you? No. So why are you asking that of me? Like, if you flip it around like that, sometimes they're like, oh, I don't see it that way, or they'll completely just say, no, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my mum's one of those people that is more of the latter, and it's the whole I'm older, I'm wiser, therefore I'm right. And I think it's that getting to that point where you accept yourself and your life choices and feeling happy with what you've chosen to do. And I actually feel I've got to the point where I actually feel sorry for my mum that she won't ever know that side of me. She won't ever know the side of me that's motivated, dedicated, supportive to people, that has a goal, has a drive, and has a determination. She'll never see that side of me because she doesn't want to. So I'm not going to let her in. She's not going to, I won my pro card. I didn't get to share the elation with her for that. I sent her a photograph and her reply was, you look scary. You don't look like my daughter.
Wow.
Yeah. With the biggest fuck off grin in my face I've ever had. That was her reply. And it's like, I've found my support in other people, in yourselves. I've got a couple of really good mates who have nothing to do with bodybuilding, but they take the time to ask, how's it going? What are you doing at the moment? And then obviously I've got Dan, where I've never had a partner before that's been a bodybuilder and has understood it. They all say they understand, but in reality, we know that that's not always the case.
Like my best mate, Sophia, who was with me for Legions, she's like the girliest girl you ever meet, but she was so willing to learn and go through the experience because she's never done it before.
Yeah.
And like, sometimes the people that you don't expect the most support from are these people. And it's mad when they come into your life because you're like, wow, I did not expect that from you.
Yeah.
And it's nice when you see those people because exactly it's what I just said, like you don't expect it. And then they give you 110%. Whereas like the people you would think would support you don't.
Yeah.
So you'd be like, oh, a bit weird. But
there's all this like, oh, you're eating that, oh, you're eating this. It's even like, I mean, we sort of alluded to it a little bit. The comments Sarah made about eating at my desk was basically, I had a meeting with my boss today who one of the things he raised was the perception of me always eating at work. And I'm kind of like, well, that's not going to change because that's my goal. That's what I'm working
towards. It's not harming anyone, is it? It's
not
like you're like leaving like stinking old food on there, or like you're like saying, hey, meals.
I even make sure I don't take my salmon meals to work. So
I was literally about to say no fish.
No.
So I don't see the issue with that. That's that how PC everyone is and how you've got to be understanding of other people. I think when it comes to bodybuilders or sportsmen or sportswomen and stuff like that, it's just like it goes. It's like they're a different breed.
If I was diabetic, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
No. But it doesn't literally, it's almost like we're omitted from everything else. It's almost like, how they have like fat shaming, you're not allowed to do that. Like but like they'll call it like fit shaming, like muscle shaming. Like people will be like, oh, I'm like, but that's you're still shaming someone. You're still putting someone in a very awkward position by saying what they're doing is an abnormal behavior. Please explain to me what abnormal behavior is, because there's so many different people doing different things. that there is no abnormal behavior anymore. Like everyone's entitled to do and be and whatever they want to do. Do you know what I mean? It's not, you have to fit that. But I mean, it must be someone else is just making them feel uncomfortable because they're not happy within themselves. And that's literally what it always just boils down to. And it's sad. It's very, very sad. Instead of being like that, maybe if you wanted to do something different, maybe like approach you and say, hey, like I like what you're doing. And it's made me think about, maybe I need to change some things about myself, like my eating habits or my lifestyle. Can you help me out?
Unfortunately, if I was sat at my desk eating crisps and Skittles, there wouldn't be so much of a problem. Likewise, if I was getting up every hour for 10 minutes to go and have a fag outside, somebody wouldn't pull me on that. Because I mean,
that's normalized,
the other option is, considering it's taking me like half an hour to eat a meal, that I don't sit at my desk and I take half an hour every 2 hours to go and eat a meal. Which would you prefer? I'm still working. I'm still being productive, but I don't know. I think it's doubly hitting home because I'm struggling with food so much at the moment.
And they're highlighting it. They're like, look at how much food you've got to eat.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. But I guess with the people that don't support you as much, I mean, maybe in your circumstances a bit different, Ro, but like I guess like with my dad he's very old school in the fact that a bit like your mum, Ro, not a meme on the same level, but like he doesn't like muscular women, but just because he's like he's over, I think he's like 66 now, and he doesn't like muscular women. He finds it a little bit strange, like, but me and my sister both tried to educate him on it. He will never fully understand, but as long as I'm not like, it's better that I say to him, like, would you rather me be out fucking drinking every weekend and like smoking myself to oblivion, or would you rather me be in the gym every day, 5 days a week, eating well and doing what I do? So it's kind of just
unfortunately it's that sort of generation thing, isn't it? They've been socially conditioned to believe that women need to be in the kitchen with an apron on, not to that extent, but there is that at the back of their mind, like they don't even necessarily realize that that's what they've been conditioned to think, but that's what society has put the imagery in front of them, and still does to an extent. Barbies wear pink, therefore women wear pink.
My
giant tits and minute waists.
Literally. But like my mum's 69 this month.
69, hey!
My mum's already 69. Whoa.
So she's from the same generation. And like when I first started, because obviously I went from like fashion modeling into that, so it's a massive change. And for her it was quite scary to begin with, because she was like, she didn't understand it. She was like, these things, she's like, oh, you're gonna get stretch marks, your skin's gonna be like, what if you want to lose the muscle, what's it look like? And then why are you doing this? And she didn't, because she is very old school and very old fashioned. She didn't really understand it, and it took her some time, like a good couple of years, to come around to it. And then she like goes to my shows. Like now she's super supportive of stuff. Like she'll like babysit my dogs when I go away. She comes to my shows when she can. Like she knows like terminology for stuff. Like I'll show her like people in categories. Like she loves you guys and stuff. She's like, oh, you're on the podcast. She loves it. She absolutely loves it now, because she's educated around it. She's like open to stuff, because everyone does different things. And it's something that like my dad did, and like it's in his side of the family, so it's been there, but it's never been something that women were perceived to have done. Like it's never been there, so it took her time, but she has come round. And she'll be like, she'll even make comments. She's, oh, like she's like, you're looking bigger. Oh, yes. Oh, look your back. Oh, she's like, she'll say little comments like that. Whereas obviously to like other mums and daughters will probably like, oh, you're looking slimmer today, and that's the thing you want to say. And if you call someone big, they're gonna go nuts. And like, no, give me all the big. I want
tell me I'm big, mummy.
Tell me I'm big.
See, my mum said that to me like the time before last I saw her. She was like, "Oh, got bigger again." And it's the tone and the inflection. That it's like, that is not meant as a compliment.
You'd be like, yes, I have. Pass me the pastries.
You're not going to get too much bigger, though, are you? You're not going to get any bigger. Tell me you're not going to get any bigger.
I still get comments like that all the time. They're like, "Oh, but you're done now, though, aren't you?" I'm like,
"But Mum, I've only just started this cycle of Trent."
Yeah,
I'm not wasting it now.
For the eyeball.
But it's so funny, though, isn't it? When people say that, they're like, it's almost like they think that again, like you value their sort of like their opinion on you, and they're like, but you look, do you know, you look good just as you are. Just don't do any more. And I'm like, do you know what? Just for that, I'm gonna go even more than what
Yeah.
I was gonna go. I'm gonna do
Gonna
more.
get Brazilian butt implants, knob cheese.
Yeah. I'm gonna get myself some
Fucking hell.
permanent seats stuck to my ass.
Fuck yeah.
But
Yeah, mate.
it's still out there though, even though like it's in this day and age it shouldn't be. It's still out there. I had a little anecdote from this bloke at the gym like a couple of months ago, and he's like, my daughter, she did bikini, and you know it's too much, you know, like she was, you know, she was quite big, you know, like, he showed me a picture of her, and I was like, she looks like me when I started bodybuilding, like when I was a fashion model. And I was like, I was covered up. I was like, you wouldn't. I said, if you think that's big, you don't want to actually see me because I might make you sick. I was like, he's like, no, you know, but you just keep yourself the way you are. You know, it's very dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. I was like, I've been doing this for a long time now. I was like,
Those crossing the road.
yes. I was like, do you know what is dangerous?
Exactly.
It's telling a woman what she can and can't do.
Yeah.
Like a dumbbell in her hand.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really dangerous. Yeah.
That's why, like, I stay covered up when I train because I can't be fucked with people's comments. Like, when I did that an interview with Giles from Muscular Development, the comments on there were like, "Oh, like she looks like a man, she sounds like a man. Like, no one cares if you stay covered up, blah blah blah." And I'm like, what I do is none of your business, and I stay covered up for people. I can't be fucked with people's opinions, especially when I train. Like, fuck off.
Is all these muscle haters on women. Why follow us?
Touche.
Just don't. Just don't.
Yeah.
Don't like it. Unfollow. It's
They
not that
have
difficult.
nothing better to do. They like the engagement. Like when you interact with them, they're like, ugh.
Don't feed the trolls.
A panini and like fucking marshmallow dripping. They're like, oh no, look, I've pissed off this one. Look, I've got like they want you to bite back because they've got nothing else to do. They're literally having, they're so. And I just look at them in a way like, I don't think I'm better than them, nothing like that. But I look at them and I'm like, do you know what? I genuinely feel sad for you that you have to go about your day to troll people and try and make them feel shit. Like if you actually put your efforts to good use, you might not be as like twisted in the head as what you are. But you know, that's where I was at them, and it makes me a bit happier with myself. So
makes me feel confident in my decisions.
it does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like coming back around to the family thing, I think it is just, you know, there's some certain things you can educate and you can kind of like ease into them and kind of get them to understand what you do. And then sometimes like you do just need to be like,
wear big baggy chops.
Yeah, in it. And just,
It's that thing as well. You don't have to have like for you, Sarah, like your Leets doesn't do bodybuilding. You can have a partner as well that doesn't do bodybuilding. I think it's that thing of you have to have a partner that's a bodybuilder. And I can assure you, I've dated a few bodybuilders, bit of fluff, and they've been dicks and they've tried to actually stop me from progressing with what I'm doing. So it doesn't matter whether they're a bodybuilder or not. It just comes down again to the type of person.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
if you're a dick, you're a dick.
Yeah, they'll support you. It doesn't matter. They're not going to be a dick because they're a bodybuilder or someone that's non-bodybuilder. It's just go for, you know, someone that has that common interest of, you know, supporting you and vice versa.
It's like, I think Dan is a supportive person who happens to be a bodybuilder. So it happens that our goals and our interests align. But ultimately, I could be playing water polo and he'd still support me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It could be fucking anything.
Yeah. Same with Leets, like because she's been in quite a high level of sport herself, she knows exactly kind of what the demands are. Like coming back to that support thing, like when I said to her when we first got together, I was like, look, like if you try and change me, we're out. Like I'm not changing for anyone. And like, for example, like a year or so ago, a job application came up for her to go to a Juventus camp, like Juventus is a team, blah, blah, blah. And it was over in some far country for like 6 months. And she was like, well, should I apply? And I was like, yeah, too fucking right, you should. Like, this is a great opportunity. Like, yes, I won't see you for 6 months, but why should I stand here and hold you back? If you want to go and fucking do that, you do that. Like, and I would expect her to be like, if I got this amazing opportunity to go and train in the States for 6 months, I would expect her to be like, go and do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not changing for anyone, and I wouldn't expect her to change for anyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just exactly, and it's just supporting each other. And if you don't quite understand something, then let me tell you more about it. Like when I said to Leets about PEDs, like I always keep her in the loop about everything. And if she asks a question and it's like, okay, so why are you doing this? What's this for? Then I'll tell her. and if I can't explain, I'll get Tom to. So because obviously Tom and Leeks are quite close, because obviously it's through me and obviously blah blah blah. But like if I want to provide her with some knowledge or further explanation as to why we're doing something, then I'll just try and explain as best I can, and if not, I'll just get Tom to.
It's that literally that. It's educating your partner, and then if they put up a fight where they just pure don't want to listen, that you can't force them to listen. Like you can just try and educate them, because I'm sure everyone's partners do things that maybe they don't quite like, but you have to come to a compromise, don't you?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Like, I've got friends that are male bodybuilders, and their missus, they don't train, and they don't really like them going to the gym, but their missus goes out enough every single weekend with their girl mates. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's the same. I was like, because it's spending time away, it's doing something you don't want to do, but you let her do that, but she won't support you in doing this. So I was like, you kind of need to sit down and talk about, like, make a compromise. You can't have someone dictating what you're trying to do. It'll just cause resentment, won't it?
I've got mainly male mates actually who are obviously or not obviously, but are using PEDs and won't tell their partners because their partner doesn't like it. And it's like, to me, that would be a massive alarm bell. If something was going on in my life and I felt I couldn't tell Dan because of his reaction, then I don't think that would make Dan the right person for me.
Yeah.
It would be like him sort of saying, "Oh yeah, I don't like the fact you're ginger. Change it." No, not an option. Sorry.
I was born ginger. The ginger life chose me. I didn't choose it.
Exactly.
I tripped and fell into a bottle of hair dye.
But that's a very good spot. That's a very good point. It's a very, very good point. You can't expect to change people.
Would you change the way you dress, the way you look for a partner? No. So why would you change any other aspect of your life? I mean, I suppose with the caveat that something that is ultimately harmful for yourself, like some partners nag other partners to give up smoking. I can kind of see the logic behind that, because it's like, well, actually, if we're in this for the long run, I don't want you to hit 70 and me have to start pushing you in a wheelchair with an oxygen cylinder.
And it stinks.
Because that's the life you're facing here. Waiting for a lung transplant. Do you know what I mean? It's like that has an impact on someone's longevity going forward. So yeah.
But being like devil's advocate, do you not think that they could be the same with like PEDs and stuff?
Yeah, they could be.
Yeah. But then I guess it just comes around to being put in the situation where you're surrounded by people who know the health risks and stuff like that, I guess.
I suppose an individual using PEDs isn't going to have a direct health impact on their partner, but obviously someone smoking,
I see what you mean. Yeah.
have a direct. We know the dangers of passive smoking.
Yeah.
If you're doing like PD usage, like you're being very sort of like you're keeping on top of your blood work, you're taking time off, you're not pushing the envelope on it and just taking stupid amounts, and as long as you're doing it safely, I think, my opinion personally, it's similar to people going out and drinking. Like they're doing that, they're having fun. Like, it's literally, they're doing that and they're recovering from it. It's just a different type of thing, they're not growing a muscular body from it, but maybe they're escaping something or they're having fun. Do you know what I mean? Like it's their thing to do. So I think, again, it just comes back to that same thing, doesn't it? Like it's because it's such a taboo thing, because alcohol is such a like a high sort of monetary thing. People just gain from it. They gain so much from it, don't they? It's more widely accepted, whereas steroids and everything else, everyone's like, no, that's disgusting.
Yeah, it's mad. Speaking of the devil, my other half's just come home. Alisa,
I was going to say, I'm going to have to skedaddle because I've got the up early tomorrow.
That's absolutely fine.
I've got a wee baby as well, so I've got a
wee baby. I was going to say, if you guys wanted to carry on, I could turn my camera. Hey, Leeds. There's a Ruby.
Look how fancy she looks in her coaching kit.
Oh yeah,
you look sexy. Hey,
Ruby's got a jumper.
You look sexy. Look at Ruby's jumper.
Ruby's got a jumper.
Cute, isn't it? Oh, bless her. I also just wanted to finish on an unpopular opinion. So what's your... So I put an unpopular opinion on my story today, is people that strip off and strip down themselves to bikini or put like posing trunks and then put their fucking shoes back on.
My thing is with socks.
Like, there was a picture of Nick Walker today. Don't get me wrong, amazing physique. But he was like in his posing trunks, but he put his shoes back on.
You have he's not
Like-
got
It's like the ones that do it with their
Um,
socks on.
What-
Don't get
what?
that either. They've got this like amazing physique and then these tatty, holy fucking socks.
You're
I know.
stripping off. You're stripping off. Everything's coming
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, why are you like you look like a
Yeah.
clown?
I
Wouldn't you
suppose if you're stripping off, you might neglect to take your socks off.
Yeah, but wouldn't you want to
Maybe.
pose how you would actually pose?
Yeah.
with bare
You gotta
foot?
Exactly.
feel your feet, don't you?
Because you
I'm
feel
with you on that one.
you feel
Thank
the
you.
floor of your feet, don't you?
Yeah.
Your feet. Now
Weird,
take
isn't
them
it?
off. It's weird, and they might
Take
stick.
them off.
Take them
Yeah.
off.
Take them off.
Do you guys
Oh.
sleep with your socks on?
Hell fucking no.
I sleep with like during winter I sleep with fluffy socks, but halfway through the night I end up kicking one off and like kicking the leg out the bed, and then I've got one sock left on because I get too hot. I do.
I'm a
but-
bit weird. I have to wash my feet before I go to bed.
Yeah, I wash my feet before I go to bed. I've got
Oh,
smelly feet.
Mm.
really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Like if I come in for a shift, I suppose it stems from wearing boots for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
yes.
Even if I'm so tired that I can't be able to have a shower, I'll always wash my feet.
I gotta
Mm.
soak my feet. I gotta soak my feet right up, but then
I think is that the clickbait for this one? Always wash your feet.
Feet hygiene.
You're not Bumstead and always wash your feet.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah. Right,
Oh,
ladies.
dear. Anyway,
I'm going
we can
to
sign off.
exit.
Let me
this
take a little
cafe.
picture and I'll put it on the Instas.
Huh?
I'll take a picture for the Instagram.
Come on, hang on.
Ruben. Sorry, I love the face. Ruby looks so sleepy.
Oh, Ruby looks
That's
so
me.
sleepy.
Look,
Right. Oh,
Look at her. Oh my god.
she's so
she
cute.
looks how I feel, if I'm honest.
Wiped
her.
out.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's nice to see you both
Anyway.
anyway. Nice to
Yeah,
catch
you
up.
too.
No worries.
Yeah.
Shall I
I
do
will see you
the...
soon, Ro, and I'll see you on the 17th.
Yeah,
on.
you will, and you'll see this one on the 17th as well.
Oh yeah. No.
Ro's
I'll be-
already gone. What's going
Oh,
on,
I
Ro?
didn't mean to do that. I'm still here. Right. Layers, Taylors
Right.
are going to stop the recording.